The Sleeper is the very first full-size figure study I did in the Brookstone series. She took a long time, maybe close to 9 months, going on 10 months to complete. And then once we got the base built, it took another month or so to finally finish her off completely. I'm sure many of you at home are wondering how many stones are in this piece. And I can't really tell you truthfully because I didn't really count. This took so long to build, many months, that I didn't really count or keep track. But I found some math models on the internet for how much skin an average person has, and a person of certain height and weight. And there were two math formulas that I came up with that seemed to be accurate for me. But when I plugged in my numbers for how many stones per square inch and so forth, I came up with two completely different numbers, so I was a little disappointed. The first number is 5,408, and the second number was 6,240. So I'm just going to say somewhere between 5,000 and 6,000 stones went into making the Sleeper. Now, some people also ask, did I use molds in building this? And yes and no. I did do a little bit of body casting, but the piece isn't a body cast. What it really represents is layering of stones. Now, if I made a body cast and used that as a mold, I would have gotten something that would have looked like it was made out of cement. And I didn't want cement. I wanted the stonework to show up as a pile of stones, and this very tactile surface, you feel it, it just feels like a series of stones, which is where I'm going for, is to look like a pile of stones you might find on the beach that just naturally occurred. And that's the whole premise of these stone sculptures, is to make it feel like a pile of stones and look like it's naturally occurring. Using straight up body casts or molds wouldn't have worked. It would have looked like a pile of stones in cement, and that's not what I wanted. So there's a couple steps involved in between the molds and this piece. Basically what the molds, because I did do some body casting, basically what that did for me was it made it possible to get all the proportions right from head to toe. And I think that's kind of where that came and ended. Once I saw how the results came from the molds, I didn't use them for the actual making of the piece. So there's a few steps involved in this. Once the piece was done, I sealed it with some epoxy, a rosin compound. I'm no longer using epoxies these days. It's something a little less deadly, but probably still carcinogenic in some way. But anyway, and then once that was set and the piece was hard as a rock, I went back and made a few more adjustments by painting it with a flat finish, because the flat stone looks so much more natural than a wet looking shiny stone. And voila, this is what the end results were. The weight of this is about 140 pounds. That's with the base. Without the base, she's about 120 pounds. So, again, the Sleeper was a lot of fun. It took a long time. 9 months, I would say, if I estimated, if I worked on it every day, it would take about 9 months. But it's just gorgeous. And it has such a wonderful, soft, easy, relaxing, tranquil feel to it. I really like it. I think it would look really great in a garden or in a very large foyer, or even the entranceway on the outside of your home, the Sleeper.